Sports presentation. CFL 83 is brought to you by Carling O'Keefe, brewers of OB, the Carlsberg Beers, and Miller High Life. And now, for all the action, we take you to the stadium and our CBC Sports crew.
Live from Lansdowne Park in Ottawa, the Rough Riders entertain the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Hi, everybody. A key game for two teams, still with an outside shot at first place in their respective divisions, but this afternoon, more concerned with preserving their grip on second place. The Ottawa Rough Riders now just 2 points ahead of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, still with a chance to overhaul the Toronto Argonauts for top billing in the East. In the West, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers lost their first place showdown last week to the British Columbia Lions and now find themselves top for second with the Edmonton Eskimos. And Ron Lancaster, it seems that almost every week, because of injuries, the Blue Bombers are making wholesale lineup changes.
Well, that's been the story of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in 1983. They have really two major changes today. Guy Bolio will play the outside linebacker position in place of John Pointer, and Donovan Rose, obtained from the Toronto Argonauts, will start on the corner. But it will be decided by two key individuals on that offensive football team. One of them is Willard Reeves, the rookie running back they received from the Edmonton Eskimos before the season started, is the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year honors in the CFL in 1983. With over 800 yards, he has a good chance to reach that 1,000-yard mark, which every running back wants. He's not only a good runner, but he can catch the football coming out of the backfield, and when he gets it into the secondary, he's a very dangerous performer. The other guy, quarterback John Huffnagel, in his second start with the Blue Bombers, obtained from the Saskatchewan Roughriders, should feel more at ease today in the game plan with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. This is his second start, the big one last week against BC. It's tough to come in against the first-place team, but John's got 9 years. He's a veteran, and he is a leader, and that's what the Blue Bombers need at this point. Leo, what about the Ottawa Roughriders?
Well, Ron, it appears that the Ottawa Rough Riders and George Brancato are starting the same thing that they do every year this time of year, making...
The Rough Riders were victors that day by a score of 26-25. We'll be back with the opening kickoff right after this. Organ, who has indicated this will almost certainly be his final season in professional football, preparing to kick off. Kirby Wilson and Ken Haley are deep for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Haley takes it at his 9-yard line. He's over one of his own players, and the Bombers will be scrimmaging from the 20. Tyrone Jones had dropped back to block, and Haley tripped over him at the 20. John Huffnagel starting his second game as Blue Bomber quarterback since being obtained in the trade from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And Mark Moores is playing that left guard position as the Bombers have done some juggling up front because of the injury to Nick Bastaya that, unfortunately for Bastaya, has sidelined him for the balance of the season. Reeves tries to go inside. He picked up maybe 1 yard, and then the middle of that Ottawa defensive unit converged on him, led by nose guard Gary Doolan. Those three have been very, very strong defensively for the Ottawa Roughriders. Jack Williams has also played very well at that linebacking position. Washington and Barton were injured in the last game against the Calgary Stampeders, but they are playing today, although there were some doubts whether or not they'd be able to make it. John Huffnagel is going to be stopped short of the first down by Steve Harrison, the linebacker. Huffnagel was looking deep, had his receivers covered, was forced to take off, and Harrison, with help from Doolan, came in to make the tackle. Merritt Ford and Dave Newman are back for this third down punt by Bob Cameron. Taken on the run by Ford, and he is hit at the 47-yard line by Pat Kentner. kick of 41 yards by Bob Cameron. So the Ottawa Rough Riders, for their first offensive series, get pretty good field position. They will be first and 10 from the 47. J.C. Watts, of course, the key to the Ottawa Rough Rider offense. Tyron Gray has emerged as one of the favorite targets in recent games. First and 10 from the 47. Appeared to be a broken play, and Gray is forced down at the 42. Handling the punting chores.
They got the return on.
Kirby Wilson takes it at the 17. Wilson finds that hole.
Set up. It's set up.
Across the 50 to the 49 of the Ottawa Rough Riders. You called it, Leo. They had the return set up. A run back of 44 yards by Kirby Wilson. The Bombers will have excellent field position when we return to Lansdowne Park.
Just a reminder, following football, live coverage of the Rothmans International with a purse of more than coverage follows football.
Yes, that race this afternoon at Woodbine, the Rothmans International, should be a great horse race. And, of course, it follows the football game from Lansdowne Park. Hotnagel with time, trying to throw inside to Boyd. Incomplete. So it's second and 10, Winnipeg. They are at the 49. I know you were excited, Leo, by that 44-yard punt return by Kirby Wilson. A couple of Illinois boys getting together and going through the Illinois fight song prior to the start of this ball game, following Illinois' victory yesterday over Ohio State.
That's right. He had his Illinois eye jacket on yesterday. He was proud of it.
I did not believe that before the game.
It was a little embarrassing. Second and 10. And that's the 13th quarterback sack of the season for Greg Marshall. He leads Ottawa in that department. He came from the backside, and that's where quarterbacks are concerned about all the time.
I'll tell you what kind of hurt. When they come from that backside, you have no idea they're there. He needed a little more time, but Greg Marshall's had an outstanding season for Ottawa. I'll tell you, you can't afford to take too long when this Ottawa defensive front four is after.
I think in talking to a lot of the coaches around the league, they come with some very unorthodox sets defensively, and they distort a lot of the blocking patterns. As a result, they get some guys free coming in there and getting a free hit.
Newman takes the third down punt by Cameron and is hit by Ken Shanconi at the 20-yard line. Driven back to the 19, but they rule his progress has carried to the 20. A kick of 41 yards by Bob Cameron. So the Ottawa Rough Riders will scrimmage first and 10.
J.C., don't let him get to that wide side where he can run.
That was Bolio that come in there.
We'll have two games next weekend. On Saturday from Montreal's Olympic Stadium, the Stampeders in the Concorde, and then a good matchup Sunday as the Eskimos go against the Blue Bombers in Winnipeg. It's the CFL on CBC.
Well, so far in two possessions, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have been unable to move the football. The Ottawa Rough Riders have had just the one big play. That was the pass to James Reed.
We haven't seen much of Reeves running the football this afternoon. He was hurt last week, and it kind of makes you wonder whether he's 100% well.
The pass complete to James Murphy for a pickup of 8 yards. It will be second and 2. And Ron, I think that's what we'll see Hufnagel do more of this afternoon, go to the outside receivers.
Well, I think he will. Ottawa has a tendency over the years to double those inside receivers an awful lot. So he's going to sprint, get outside, and try to throw those wide receivers more. In fact, last week I thought he went to the wide receivers more than I'd seen John do in a long time.
Second and 2 from the 43. Boyd is wide left. Murphy out to the right. Pass complete to Hucklock coming out of the backfield. He goes out of bounds at the 50-yard line, actually the 49 of the Ottawa Rough Riders.
That's what you call a quarterback stream, Leo.
Yeah, they brought Murphy in from the outside from his wide receiver position, just stuck Hucklock right out in the flat, and I don't know, the linebacker didn't cover him, Ron, or what happened on the play, but he come out there scot-free.
2nd and 2. That quarterback's dream for play action.
A gain of 18. Jeff Boyd gets out wide, and Boyd is caught and tripped up by Johnson. Rick House had come over and was ready to throw a block on Ricky Barton had Boyd been able to escape the grasp of Johnson. Boyd had 2 touchdowns last week against the British Columbia Lions, both on bombs from quarterback John Hufnagel. It's a 2nd and 2 situation again for Winnipeg. They are at the Ottawa 41. Ottawa leads it 3-0. 5:44 is the time remaining in the opening quarter. Willard Reed trying for that first down. It will be close. It will probably require a measurement. Reeves was unable to practice all week because of that severely bruised knee he suffered against the British Columbia Lions. There was some concern as recently as Friday afternoon whether he would be able to suit up today against Ottawa. Of course, in that game against British Columbia, the Bombers also lost cornerbacks David Shaw and Wiley Turner. However, Coach Cal Murphy was telling us prior to the game that he is hopeful they will be ready for next Sunday's game against the Edmonton Eskimos.
The thing that's so amazing about the Winnipeg team is that they still look like a solid team that knows what they're doing together out there, and yet they've got so many changes that it's almost impossible for a team to be playing as well as they're playing with as many changes as they've had.
3rd and inches, Winnipeg just inside the Ottawa 40-yard line. Hufnagel keeps. Got up a little high as he dove straight ahead, something that causes concern for coaches when they see that quarterback on the sneak go up high, I would think, Ron.
Well, once you leave your feet, you have no more forward momentum. So if a guy hits you while you're in the air, you can't get your legs under you to drive forward for that extra 4 or 5 inches that you may need. It's going to be close right there.
He got it, but it was real close.
If you can get your head behind those shoulder pads and keep down low and get those legs churning, you'll get a yard every time. But boy, when you leave your feet, you're gambling.
Staying low was never a problem for you.
No, I just walk. Normally. I think you're right, Leo. He is getting heavy.
Well, you didn't have too much trouble with that quarterback sneak yourself, as much of a sneak as you are.
1st and 10 from the 39, Winnipeg. Bombers trail 3-0. Hufnagel with time, throwing deep for Rick House. It's picked off. The interception made by Junior Robinson back at the 2-yard line.
Well done. The interception was made by Robinson, but the defensive play was made by Barton. He would not allow Rick House to make the first move and forced him into a second move, which gave Robinson time to come back over.
Well, apparently Robinson was in the end zone when he came down with that football. They're giving Ottawa the ball at the 20.
Well, Robinson had it all the way. He's just like a center fielder in baseball. You'll see him going to the ball right there, and he knew that he had it all the way. The one thing that he's got to be careful of.
Tackled by Rose. So Donovan Rose, acquired from the Toronto Argonauts just this week, comes up with a big end zone interception. 1:10 is the time remaining in this opening quarter. Ottawa leads by 3.
We get a play-action pass. Skip Walker goes over to block Pearson. He gets hurt. Pat Stoke was wide open, and the ball's thrown behind Tyrone Gray, and that allows the interception. But he had a man open. Just hope Walker's okay there. They're going to need him.
Yeah, I saw him run off the field. He'll be fine. But it looks like both these teams are trying to give it away.
Draw play with Willard Reeves. He got to the 10-yard line. It will be 2nd and 7. Stopped by Rick Sovieta. Donovan Rose, who was picked up from the Toronto Argonauts with the injuries to David Shaw and Wiley Turner. The Blue Bombers needed some help and some experience at that corner position, and Rose was available for good old future considerations.
Paid his dues.
One of the great trades of all time. Everybody knows who that is.
On 2nd and 7. Boyd on the sidelines. He's got a first down out to the 30-yard line.
Boy, I like that guy.
He faked as though he was going all the way down those sidelines and then came back to the quarter.
Look who's down out there, though. Look who's down out there.
John Hufnagel. No, John Bunk.
That's 2 important people on that offense.
See Boyd start deep, and he gets Johnson turned to run with him, and then he just stops dead, and Hufnagel throws it short. That takes a little bit of practice, but I tell you, it's tough to stop.
Bunk is limping coming up to the line of scrimmage, but those linemen, they'll play hurt.
Well, John Bonk has been playing with a series of hurts throughout the entire season. Mark Field got through on the final play of the opening quarter. So after 15 minutes of play, it's still 3-0. Ottawa leading Winnipeg. We'll be back right after this.
Carlsberg Light. All right.
Ottawa Rough Riders have the edge. 2 big plays. A pass to Jim Reed and another to Skip Walker have accounted for most of that Ottawa total of 138 yards.
Well, you know, you have a big edge in the statistical edge, but they've only got 3 points on the scoreboard. Both teams have had opportunities to put it in the end zone. Both of them have thrown interceptions when they get down deep. As Leo said, maybe they're trying to give it away.
Both have had excellent opportunities to do something, and only 3 points out of the whole thing.
2nd and 15. The Bombers are back now at their own 25-yard line with this first play of the second quarter. Hofnagel in trouble. He got up to the 29-yard line and was hit by Doolin from behind, and there's an injured Winnipeg player. Lyle Bauer is down.
Boy, they can't afford to get anybody else hurt.
That was good coverage downfield by the Ottawa defense. They came with the 4-man rush, played a man-to-man underneath with 2 other men sitting deep just in case, and I didn't find anybody open on that field. Did you see anybody, Leo?
I didn't see anybody. You didn't see anybody, but the most important thing is Hufnagel didn't see anybody.
Well, Pat Clayton is working on the left ankle of Lyle Bauer. Bauer was sidelined for a spell earlier this season with an ankle injury.
I believe that's the same ankle, too, Don.
There's a Harold Jackman would have to go in there, number 56 from Moorhead State. And they are really getting thin. Nick Mastaya, we got the word yesterday, is out of there for the season.
Lyle Bauer played with the Saskatoon Hilltops at Weber State as well, and obviously some messages are being sent across the CBC television network this afternoon from the football fans here at Lansdowne Park. Al Bauer is up and limping off to that Bomber bench.
Limping better with every step.
He'll be back.
He'll be back in there. He'll have to get back in there.
Well, injuries have certainly taken their toll this year with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Their first game of the season, they lost Ernie Christmas for the year, a promising rookie defensive back. And Tom Clements, of course, had that injury against Hamilton. Pete Caton gone for the season with an injury. Nick Mastaya now out for the year.
Shaw not there this week because of her neck injury last week.
Wiley Turner also out of the lineup.
Oh boy, it goes on and on.
Bob Cameron's 3rd down punt taken by Newman back at the 34-yard line, and he got out to the 36 before being stopped by Pat Kentner. A punt of 48 yards by Bob Cameron. We have 14-12 remaining in this first half.
Hockey Ottawa number 19. Decline. 3rd down.
Procedure against Dave Newman. That's the 2nd time they have had a procedure call against the back.
Yeah, what he's doing lining up in that slot back position and jumping the gun and getting off there too fast. You really can't afford those too many times.
So it's 3rd and 19, Ottawa, and that brings Ken Clark into the game.
Let's go, JB. There's a return again. A little more difficult this time.
Picked off by Paul Bennett, and Bennett is stopped at the 50-yard line.
With the exception of just a few big plays, Don, this has been a defensive battle here this afternoon. Just the offense hasn't been able to do anything. The defense is capitalizing and rushing and knocking the passer down. Somebody's going to have to loosen it up here in a second.
Well, Hufnagel primarily with his passing attack so far has been working to the outside.
Hasn't had any success at all inside, and that's surprising because he likes to go to those inside receivers. He's got 2 good ones, Bobrovsky and House.
Lyle Bauer back in the ball game. It's 1st and 10 Winnipeg. They are at the 51. Reed trying to get outside. Bobby Thompson leading the way. Washington came across to make the tackle. Big Bobby Thompson just leveled Ken Miller, who had moved up from his halfback position. That's a bit of a mismatch. Miller 6'1", 185, and Bobby Thompson at 6'8", 300 pounds.
I'd like to have him bearing down.
You have to feel comfortable running behind them. They can't even see you.
I'd like to be that defensive back coming up on Thompson.
That's where you call for help.
Thompson, a lot of the fans probably don't realize he's been playing for a couple years now. He's only 23 years of age.
2nd and 5. Hufnagel for Murphy. Out of bounds, incomplete. He was being covered by Charles Craigan.
No complaints by Cal Murphy on the sidelines.
Murphy and Murphy. Sounds like a law firm having a discussion at that Bomber bench.
I'd like to know what he's saying to him. I really would.
Murphy's Law.
Well, you're right there.
Better catch that ball and catch it inbounds.
Newman and Ford are back for Bob Cameron's 3rd down kick. 11:56 the time remaining in this first half. It's still 3-0. The Ottawa Rough Riders in front as the result of a 27-yard field goal by Jerry Organ.
4 games in the CFL next weekend. Saturday, you will see the Stampeders at Montreal here on CBC. Then Sunday afternoon, we've got a good one. The Edmonton Eskimos and the Blue Bombers from Winnipeg. It's the CFL on CBC.
A big play for the Ottawa Rough Riders. A 100-yard punt return by Marette Ford. They lead 10-0 as Jerry Organ kicks off. Kirby Wilson starts out from the 10-yard line. He spins his way out across the 35, stopped there by Mike Graffey. There's the hero of the moment for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Don, you know what's funny on the punt return is as soon as Bob Cameron punted
was involved in that game with Stanford where they lateraled the ball about 9 times before running through the band. And Sovieta dropped Hufnagel back at the 26-yard line. Ford was the last man to lateral the ball.
Hufnagel wishes he had somebody to lateral to then. He ran it to his right, and he wanted to throw back to his left. He never had a chance. He had Boyd breaking on the inside, but by the time he got there, it was too late.
They got him bracketed. He turns around and looks right into Sovieta, who had come around the offensive tackle. He had no place to go.
Well, that's the 3rd time this afternoon that an Ottawa defensive unit has got to quarterback John Hufnagel. Willard Reeves on the draw play almost gets it all back. He's out to the 44-yard line.
It's not a bad call on 2nd and long. Ottawa went into that defense where they're man-to-man underneath. You just run something right at him. If you get through the line, you got it made. You get a trap, and the center comes through with no one to hit. Mark Morris makes a block on Sovieta, and then it's just Reeves running to get them close.
Gain of 17 for Willard Reeves, but the Bombers are still 2 yards shy of the 1st down.
You know, Leo, last week we saw Winnipeg fake a punt, 3rd and 2. Do you think they'll do it right here?
Not from this position on the field and not being 10 points down.
Okay, you heard it here first.
Well, Bob Cameron was a quarterback at Acadia, and he has a perfect record this year. He's thrown 2 passes, completed them both. This time as Dave Newman is caught at the 30-yard line. The Bombers weren't about to be burned twice on a punt return. A 41-yard kick by Bob Cameron. The Bombers came very close to encroaching upon that 5-yard restraining area as they covered on that 3rd down punt.
That's what the boos were about. They thought they did. I think the guy backed out of there pretty good.
Wilson. The officials ruled that he was down back at the 23-yard line. Paul Bennett was over trying to throw a block, thinking that Wilson was free to get up and go, but apparently he had been tagged by Gray as he went down. Well, you must have something to say about this Illini boy.
Well, it's just another case of an Illini making good. Watts goes back and he looks downfield, throws the ball. That's pretty good, Rod. throws the football. You see Wilson go up and make the interception right here. He thought he could have got up and run that time, but there was contact made by Tyrone Gray. And it looks to me, with the exception of very few big plays in this first half, that both teams are playing very sloppy football.
Hofnagel in trouble. Loses the football. Who's got it? That Clayton is looking at right now.
I was watching the replay trying to see where Boyd got injured, but I didn't really see it.
7:36 is the time remaining in this first half. The Ottawa Rough Riders lead by 10, and they are in excellent scoring position once again.
Boyd, number 70, going down, and you'll see where he gets his foot caught right underneath a defensive lineman there, and he kind of rolls over on it. That was the extent of the injury right there. He's talking to the doctor on the sidelines. Boy, they can't afford any more injuries.
Boyd was attempting to come back last night. Montreal and Edmonton, Saskatchewan and Hamilton. We'll also have a special report on the Rothman International, and we'll have the CompuStats and highlights from this game. We'll also update you on what's going on out in Calgary as the BC Lions take on the Calgary Stampeders in another key game in the Canadian Football League today.
Well, the CFL got some good news the last couple of days when Carling O'Keefe agreed to pay $33 million for 3 years of the rights to the CFL games. And, you know, Don, a lot of times the beer companies get a lot of adverse publicity, but, you know, it's through their backing these football teams that leagues are successful on both sides of the border.
Kirby Wilson on the return. Good tackle made there by Charles Johnson. The Bombers were setting up the return to the right side, and Kirby Wilson had some blockers out in front of him, but somehow Johnson penetrated, and he may have paid the price. This Grambling graduate who saw service with Atlanta and St. Louis got through to upset Kirby Wilson.
For an instant, it looked like Wilson had a good lane to run in, but when he cut up inside it, the black jerseys show up, and Johnson got underneath him.
Kirby won one game for the University of Illinois against Minnesota on a kickoff return for a touchdown. So he's been there before.
Pass intended for Willard Reeves. And it was Jack Williams who got a hand up in front of it to knock it away. This Ottawa club, I think, Leo, has been a much improved unit defensively since the return of this man.
Yeah, and they just keep getting better all the time. And Williams, you know, is a counterpart to Parker and some of those other guys that play that. Watch Seal release to the inside and get in a position here. A little leg whip there. But Williams goes up in the air. He's got the big height and he's got the range. Goes up and knocks that ball down. He's given freedom from that linebacker spot to come on any given play.
Second down 10 from the 33. Throwing deep. Poplawski's got it. Bounced out of bounds at the Winnipeg, at the Ottawa 45 by Charles Cornelius.
Well, he got the Ottawa defense caught in a zone defense, and Poplawski goes down to the sideline, breaks out, and then turns upfield. And Boyd had cleared that area, and watch the throw. Nice throw, nice catch. Big game first down. Winnipeg had to get something going this series.
That was a big play for them. You saw Marshall come in, get a lot of penetration there, but the tackle blocked him beyond the play, and Hufnagel, the veteran that he was, just stepped right up in the pocket and delivered that ball right on the money.
Gain of 33 for the two-time Shenley Award winner. Draw play with Willard Reeves. Mark Seal limited the gain to about 3 yards. Ken Miller also had a hand in that stop.
One thing you don't want to do against Ottawa is get in these second and long situations. That front four of theirs has been putting good pressure all year and today. And when you get in this 2nd and 8, they know you have to throw the football, and they're coming.
I can tell you another thing you don't want to do against Ottawa, and I can tell you this from experience in the past. Don't let them get ahead of you.
You got that right.
Second and 7. Jeff Boyd goes wide to the left. Hofnagel rolls right. Throwing deep for Poplawski. He's bounced out of bounds. Ken Miller was there covering. So was Cornelius. And it will be 3rd and 7.
That was a bootleg pattern, a fake sweep to the left with Hufnagel coming back to his right. And he hung that ball up in the air just a little bit too long and allowed the defenders to get over there, make the play on Poplawski before he could catch it.
Do we fake it this time, Leo, or do we kick the field goal?
Well, at this stage of the game, it might be a pretty good time to fake it.
All right, let's see. Got Kennard in there. It's going to be a long one. 49 yards.
3rd and 7 for Winnipeg. Trevor Kennard into the ball game. A 49-yard field goal attempt.
I think he'll take one look at that defensive line and say, I better kick it.
It's long enough, but it's wide. Ricky Barton in the end zone. Going to use up some time. Finally chased out by Pat Kantner for a single point with 3:49 remaining in the half. 17-1, Ottawa in front of Winnipeg. What a ball game last night Warren Moon had as the Edmonton Eskimos moved into a tie for second place, defeating the Montreal Concorde.
Warren Moon, to me, is definitely the most outstanding player in this league, period. He is just going to rewrite every record that can possibly be written. And as somebody mentioned this morning, it's no wonder he has a sore arm as much throwing as he's been doing.
But he's in their offensive alignment have caused some of these breakdowns, that have caused these fumbles and miscommunications, because you can't change all of those people and players.
Ball is a touchdown. Picked up by the Ottawa Rough Riders. Greg Marshall, they ruled that he was in the act of throwing when he was hit.
Well, I'm sure that if this game gets close toward the end, that there'll be some speculation on that.
So it's second down. He was hit by Gary Doolan.
The official was in perfect position to see it, though. We're going to get another look at it.
Okay, Leo, you call it. Let's see it.
I'll let you call it, but there he goes back.
Forward.
Well, you can't tell because, thank God, the officials are saying you can't tell.
It's second and 15. Penalty flag is down. Sideline pattern for Murphy, incomplete. Good coverage there by Charles Cornelius. Also a holding call against Winnipeg that I'm sure will be declined.
Cornelius, after contact was made with reception in the hands of the receiver, came out and knocked the ball out of his hands. Good defensive play.
Winnipeg number 59, decline, third down.
A holding call against Lyle Bauer, but it's been a rough afternoon so far for John Hufnagel. Bauer still limping from an injured ankle suffered earlier in this quarter.
Well, we'll see. The guard on the left is going to hold on Mark Steele. That's Lyle Bauer. Got a pretty good hold of him. That was a good defensive play. When that ball hit his hands, Cornelius arrived.
Third down punt by Bob Cameron. Moret Ford trying to get outside. He's got some room. Finally taken down on the far side of the field at the 50-yard line. And a reminder, immediately following today's football game, the Rothmans International from Toronto Woodbine. On the kickoff return, this is Ken Haley. And he stumbles out to the 24-yard line. Rick Sovieta made the initial contact with him, then Morris Doyle came over to finish the job. A return of 18 yards for Ken Haley. 33 seconds remaining in the half. We saw Norman Gibbs earlier warming up at the Winnipeg bench. However, John Hufnagel is still directing the attack.
Ottawa's got Moret Ford in playing defensive back. He'll be lined up about 30 yards deep. They're just not going to give him anything downfield.
Going with just a three-man rush. Complete over the middle to Willard Reed. He's got a first down out to the 37-yard line. 25 seconds the time remaining in the half. 27-1, Ottawa in front. A gain of 13.
This defensive alignment, if you're going to throw the ball at all, you might as well throw a screen. At least try to get some linemen in front of it, because look how deep they are. You're not going to throw anything downfield.
Again, just that three-man rush. Complete to James Murphy. He's got a first down at the 47 with 17 seconds remaining in the half.
They better get up there and get it started and get it going.
The Bombers trying to move up over that ball quickly.
Calling the automatics, a lot of huddling.
Complete to Dan Hucklock. He's down to the 33-yard line for 11 seconds. Well, they may have time for one more play.
A touchdown here would make them feel a lot better going in at halftime. Now, it's just amazing that they've played as well as they've played the last several weeks with all the changes and injuries they've had, but it's predictable that when you've had that many changes that you're going to have some problems, and it looks like it's all settling in on them this afternoon.
Well, the Blue Bombers have called a timeout. Hufnagel with a chance to confer with head man Cal Murphy and assistant coach Art Aselda. You know, we talk about what a fine job Murphy has done. Murphy gives a lot of credit to Art Aselda, who has had the task of working with quarterbacks. And John Hufnagel, as we pointed out a week ago, is the 6th starting quarterback the Bombers have employed this season.
I think the entire Winnipeg coaching staff has done good jobs. As Cal was telling us before the game, this is what it's like up front. Leo, Bobby Thompson, and Greg Marshall are going to have a little action.
Bobby said, I won that one. Greg says, yeah, but you haven't won too many this afternoon.
Ottawa took Red Ford out of there now. They're going back to their basic defense. 11 seconds. You think they'll blitz them?
No, I think they're going to play it safe.
Right.
First and 10. The Bombers at the 33. The clock does not start until the ball is snapped. Hufnagel throwing deep into the end zone, incomplete with 5 seconds remaining. He was looking for Rick House.
Actually, it was a great job by Charlie Johnson. He was playing both sides. There was a pass receiver inside and outside. He was playing right in the middle. When the ball went, he went to the outside and made the play.
That's the pattern they hit Poplawski at on this side of the field. Rick House is too much speed. He gets a little bit deep, and that allows Johnson to come back and make the defensive play. That is good defense. Covered 2 men.
So with Johnson knocking down the pass intended for Rick House, with 5 seconds left, Trevor Kennard will attempt a field goal from 40 yards out. Again, it's wide. Ricky Barton will run it out of the end zone. He saves the single point, and that also ticks the clock down.
The play action to Joe Cribbs. Cribbs, the second leading receiver in the AFC, his 6th touchdown of the year. Ferguson has just hit Mark Brammer for a touchdown. It is 14-7. Buffalo leads it.
All right, thank you, Bill. Of course, fans watching Cleveland wondering about
the U.S. come up with a plan to control the acid rain. Todd.
Thank you, Debbie. It's a fine day across the nation. Let's take a look at it on the satellite photograph. Look at the west. No clouds at all until you hit the Texas Panhandle, then a string of clouds with a cool front moving across the Midwest, the plains, right through the Texas Panhandle right now. The upper Midwest as well, a swirl of clouds. The storm center now over the Great Lakes producing that swirl of clouds behind it. But for the most part, the showers today are just scattered in a line right now from Chicago back to about Amarillo. We also have some scattered showers and thunderstorms in Florida, but the east from Maine all the way down to Alabama. Looking great today. Let's see the weather makers on the national map today. High pressure in the east, providing all the sunshine. A great day there. Meanwhile, in the southeast, some showers and thunderstorms, as we noted. Here's that front producing those showers, and a secondary surge of cold air moving down into the northern plains of the upper Rockies, producing cooler temperatures to move into that part of the nation as well. Okay, out west for the time being, but there's a problem. Let's see on tomorrow's map. Monday, there it is. In the plains out to the Rockies, some showers will develop. Moisture pump off the Pacific Ocean will continue to blossom out those showers, that part of the nation. Cool air swinging into the Great Lakes. It looks like it will be pretty sunny there tomorrow. Just a few low clouds, I should say. In the east tomorrow, it looks like you'll have a brief passing shower, perhaps anywhere west of New York City and let's say Albany, New York, but that will pass through very briefly tomorrow because that cool front will touch off that brief shower. But southeast will be sunny, very warm. The southwest in California looks pretty good too. Temperatures briefly this afternoon, they've been nice. Readings in the 40s and 50s across the top, 80s Gulf Coast, and I'll be back with an update in a few.
Was 31. The climatological weather summary. Yesterday's high temperature was 61, the low 30, producing a mean of 46, which was 6 degrees below the normal. Temperature departure since January the 1st, 509 degrees above normal. We We had 19 heating degree days yesterday, bringing the total up to 269. We had no precipitation. The sun will set this evening at 6:50, sunrise tomorrow morning at 7:48.
You're listening to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's weather radio station, KEC 63. We're operating on a frequency of 162.55 megahertz from the National Weather Service office at Detroit Metropolitan Airport. Our transmitting antenna is located in Southfield. The latest weather map shows a low pressure system over western Lake Superior. A weak warm front extends to the east into Ontario, and a weak cold front trails to the south through Wisconsin and then southwest into Iowa, Missouri, and on toward Texas. This cold front will pass the Detroit area later tonight.
Out over the entire region. At Detroit Metropolitan Airport, temperature 62 degrees, relative humidity 52%. Wind from the south at 9 miles per hour, the pressure 30 and 1400 inches and falling. At City Airport, 62 degrees, Flint 60, and at Lansing 58. Out-of-state weather reports, Toledo, Ohio 69, Fort Wayne, Indiana also 69. Again, skies are partly cloudy to mostly cloudy over the region. At 2 p.m. at Detroit Metropolitan Airport, south winds at 9, the temperature at 62 degrees. Here's the latest Detroit weather radar summary. At 2:30 p.m., mostly light rain showers continued from northeast Indiana, extreme northwest Ohio, through southeast lower Michigan into southern Lake Huron and portions of southern Ontario. These showers were mostly in a 25-mile wide band lying to the northwest of a line from northwest of Fort Wayne, Indiana, to Adrian, Michigan, to Detroit, and on to London, Ontario. Movement was northeast at 35 miles an hour.
The following are our latest nearshore marine forecast.
Were blown out by the British Columbia Lions under the dome at BC Place. But statistically, well, the scoreboard certainly tells the story of the first half of play. However, Winnipeg defensive back Kirby Wilson feels that the Blue Bombers will come back in the second half.
Right now, we're just trying to get it together. We're having a few adjustment problems. We got a lot of new guys in there. And right now, we're just trying to get it together so we can get back in this football game.
Well,
it's
Kirby,
still not over.
Kirby, you had a lot of adjusting to make. You yourself are playing a new position, moving to the corner. You've got Donovan Rose, Ken Haley back on the other side, Reggie Pearson back in the lineup after missing 2 games. Communication must be something of a problem, a bit of familiarity missing as well.
Right, yeah, right now there is a communication problem, but like I say, it's still not over, and it's because the guys haven't played together in a few weeks, and Don's new, and you know, it's still not over. The game is still in, there's still a chance to win, and we're just trying to get back in it. We're going to go in here and regroup and get it together.
Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Well, the Bombers certainly do have a lot of regrouping to do in this second half. They trail by 26 points. I would think, Ron, that it's a case of all the changes perhaps finally catching up with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Well, it's only a matter of time. You know, Winnipeg did get away with it for 4 or 5 weeks with all the changes that they made. Sooner or later, things are going to go bad. And today, defensively, they got 2 new corners. Hufnagel's still having problems with the offense, evidently, because they haven't moved the football. And they're just having their problems, and hopefully they'll get these guys well for the stretch run. But they've got to come back this second half.
We said before how difficult it is to come back on Ottawa. Ottawa are all jacked up out here this afternoon, and it's good to see a big crowd out here at Lansdowne Park. And they're all having fun because the Ottawa Rough Riders are up 27-1.
Trevor Kennard's kickoff to start this second half. To Narrat Ford, he finds the seam again. Against the British Columbia Lions, he was all over the field making tackles, and for a big man, this linebacker has amazing speed, as J.C. Watts will certainly attest.
Well, that was just an attempt again at the bootleg, a fake to the sweep to the left and come back to the right and look for someone like he did for Newman before. But as you say, Jones came through at that big speed and caught him before he could get the ball up.
He's a rookie out of Southern University, 6'2", 220 pounds. Ken Clark is back for the 3rd down punt, standing at his own 45. I think this is only the 3rd time that Clark has kicked the ball this afternoon.
I think Winnipeg has it. Yes, they have.
Well, there's a break for Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The worst thing that they could have happen was Ottawa to go in their end zone for another touchdown, and they get a big break when the fumble on the reverse play that they ran earlier to Newman.
Ray Sullivan recovered that loose ball, so Winnipeg will take over inside their own 5 when we return to Lansdowne Park.
Just a reminder, following football, live coverage of the Rothmans.
Ottawa wants to score on this reverse. Watts pitches back to Newman. Well, watch Reggie Pearson, number 8, He makes the play. Newman tries to cut inside. The ball goes free, and after it's kicked around a while, Ray Sullivan finally recovers and gives the Bombers new life.
Just inside their own 5-yard line. They're trying to inside with Willard Reeves. He fumbled the ball.
They have to keep this football team intact. But it's just about at the point right now where they've just suffered so many injuries, so many incapacitating vacancies on that offense and defensive unit that it's beginning to show.
And, of course, to some extent, the Blue Bombers have been authors of their own demise today. The interceptions and miscues, the fumbles, have certainly hurt as Ottawa has been able to capitalize on almost every one.
Yeah, they have definitely been the cause of them. They've hurt themselves as much as Ottawa has.
And, of course, a reminder that this all leads up to the Grey Cup game under the dome at the stadium at BC Place. And CBC Television is responsible for all the exciting production. That includes the Shenley Awards live on the full network for the first time, the Grey Cup Parade, the thrill of it all, our 90-minute pregame show, and, of course, the game itself. Ken Haley trying to find a hole. He does, and he has some speed. Will he be trapped down? All the way to the 32-yard line of Ottawa.
Now, this has been a continuation of big play after big play and then capitalizing or not capitalizing. But Ottawa is just, fortunately for them, capitalized more often than Winnipeg. Winnipeg has had their chances.
A 70-yard return by Ken Haley.
Started out to his left and then saw it back to the right. Cut up the field and just took it on down. Got some pretty good speed. Almost caught from the back by John Lynch, who shows some pretty good speed. Number 29. Got a hand on him.
I think that was a case of Haley just running out of gas. And you see he needs some help over that Winnipeg bench. Ken Miller was one of those involved in the stop, and he was slow in getting to his feet. He's heading off to that Ottawa bench, and I'm sure will be returning. Well, the Blue Bombers have a first down. Just about their deepest penetration of the afternoon on this fine return by the graduate of San Francisco State, and that's where Ken Miller was hurt. So now it's 1st and 10, Winnipeg. Hufnagel out into the flat to Hucklack. Hucklack is tackled by Ricky Barton after a pickup of about 7 yards. 11:47 is the time remaining in the third quarter. 34-1. Ottawa leads Winnipeg.
Well, a guy that we haven't seen much or heard much from that's been a great performer over the years, Rick House. I don't believe he's caught a pass this afternoon.
I think they've gone to him once. That was late in the first half. 2nd and 3. Hufnagel for Jeff Boyd. He's got the first down. He's thrown back by Charles Johnson, but his progress was about 5 yards further downfield.
The way things have been going for Winnipeg, you just keep waiting for them to fumble or throw an interception. Hufnagel just reverse pivoted and came right out. A real good catch there.
A gain of 9. Back to the live action. It's 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. Into the end zone for Murphy. Incomplete. Being defended by Cornelius.
Cornelius was beaten cleanly, but then caught up with speed. And when he turned around, he was in good position to intercept it. The ball went right between his hands and could have been caught by Murphy. I guess there was enough of deflection there that threw it off the target.
So it's 2nd and 10 from the 18-yard line. John Hufnagel in his second game as starting quarterback for the Blue Bombers since being acquired in an October 3rd trade with Saskatchewan. With time, throwing into the middle, Jeff Boyd, touchdown. Boyd did an excellent job in breaking loose from 2 defenders at the goal line. And the 18-yard strike from John Hufnagel makes it a 34-7 game.
Hufnagel goes straight back. Boyd's coming down. He's going to come across from right to left. Just breaks inside And he, as you say, he broke away from 2 Ottawa defenders, made the catch, and then it's no problem because he had no one back there.
Well, this guy's been a performer. 2 touchdown passes last week. Here's another one right here after breaking loose.
So with 10:26 remaining, the point after by Trevor Kinnard makes it a 34-8 ball game. And we'll return to Lansdowne Park and the Winnipeg Blue Bomber kickoff after we pause for this message.
Makes sense to me on we had a movement out, you know, toss something, fullback pass or whatever it was. And so I tried to call about 3 times the huddle, and finally I just said, hey, I got to call timeout, guys. Everybody's looking at me, what's this play? So when I came back in the huddle, I said, hey, sorry, guys, sometimes the quarterback can blank too, you know.
Hipple calls it high-tech football.
We'll have 2 games next weekend. On Saturday, from Montreal's Olympic Stadium, the Stampeders and the Concorde, and then a good matchup Sunday as the Eskimos go against the Blue Bombers in Winnipeg. It's the CFL on CBC.
On the kickoff, the Bombers kicking it short. Maurice Doyle grabs the ball over on the far side. There's also a penalty flag on the play.
I can hear George Brancato from here saying face mask.
Only a 31-yard kickoff by Trevor Kinnard. And the rough play call against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Stranger things have happened. Ken Haley, who had a 70-yard return earlier. Another good rundown. He fights his way out to the 49-yard line.
Well, I don't know today whether it's a case, Ron, of there's being great punt returns and kickoff returns or poor coverage, but they're certainly breaking some big ones.
I'll tell you what, it's been a day of big plays. I was just noticing the stats at the halftime. There wasn't a whole lot of difference in the statisticals compared to what the score was. It's been real big plays. Plays like you're talking about, Leo. Here's one. Another kickoff return for good yardage. We've had a punt return, many good kickoff returns both ways. It's just been unbelievable. And Watson's got maximum yardage out of his pass completions.
Willard Reeves, who was back with Haley on the kickoff return team, threw a key block, enabling Haley to return it for 39 yards. The pass complete to Rick House. First down inside the 50 of Ottawa. You mentioned Rick House a few minutes ago, Leo. That's his first catch of the day, but that keeps alive his consecutive game string.
Well, I think a lot of fans forget about him being hurt earlier in the season and what a great performer he's been over the last several years. That was just another one of the adjustments that the Winnipeg team had to make.
Well, he played the first half of the season with a thumb that had been broken. And then he missed a couple of games with a hip injury. Deep for James Murphy, overthrown by John Hupnagel. They had set that up, Ron. You were indicating, pointing downfield before the play got underway, that they were going to go deep.
We had a miscommunication between the receiver and the quarterback. The receiver went down and went to the post, went inside. Hupnagel threw the ball outside. That's just miscommunication on their part. But I think the receiver had the right idea. He was open inside.
Second and 10. The ball is at the Ottawa 49. 6:40 is the time remaining in this third quarter. It's 41-8. Ottawa comfortably in front. Intended for James Murphy again, incomplete. He was covered by Charles Cornelius.
Well, the Bombers read the blitz coming. Hupnagel tried to hit a quick slant to Murphy. The guy that made the play is number 34 for Ottawa, Harrison. He gets back and gets that big one of these times, Leo. They've got to do something. Gets the momentum. Ottawa's got all the momentum right now.
Sure, Nolan Murphy, he loves this kind of thing, too. And a ball game like this, he has nothing to lose.
Now he's going to kick it. The ball bounces into the end zone. Newman concedes the single point. So it's now 41-9. Ottawa leading Winnipeg. 6:02 is the time remaining in the third quarter.
And this program is copyrighted and is strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express written consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited.
That was
going to say with there for a moment.
I still think it's easier to just say you can't use it.
Needs this CFL 83 action to Grey Cup 83 under the dome at the stadium at BC Place, and CBC Television will be producing an exciting week of activity. On the Thursday, live coverage on the network for the first time of the Shenley Awards, then followed by the Grey Cup Parade, our pregame show on Sunday, the thrill of it all, and the game itself. The field goal attempt by Oregon is going to fall short. Paul Bennett lets it bounce into the end zone for a single point. So with 4:16 remaining.
Next week on Sports Weekend, world-class figure skating.
Well, we indicated earlier that approximately 26,000 were in attendance at Lansdowne Park. We were out by just about 400. Leo will have to do a little better job of taking that count at the gate. Willard Reeves is dropped for a loss. Well, John Hufnagel started the ball game. He's been able to deliver one touchdown strike to Jeff Boyd, but with the score 42-9 in Ottawa's favor, Ron, I wouldn't be surprised if Norman Gibbs is going to get some playing time.
Well, he's got his helmet on down there warming up on the sideline, so I would say it's a pretty good indication he'll be in for the entire fourth quarter.
It's 2nd and 13. For Jeff Boyd, it's almost picked up. Charles Johnson came over to...
Speaking about that attendance, Lou Heyman, who was the president of the Argonaut football team, he could look in the stands and tell you within 50 people about how many people there were in there. He had the greatest eye for that I ever saw.
Merritt Ford takes the kick at the 35. He stopped this time after a return of about 2 yards. That's a 41-yard punt by Bob Cameron. And we have 2:56 remaining in the third quarter. At the 38.
Well, that's what it was to this side. They had Skip Walker go to the wide side to fake it, and then he come back short side of the field to Dave Newman, and they had two linemen out in front of him, but Winnipeg reacted well. This guy, Don, you mentioned his game last week. What's the play he makes here? I thought last week was his final defensive performance by an individual that I'd seen this year. I don't have any doubt about it. He was super.
Well, we chose him despite the loss to the British Columbia Lions. Our Darling O'Keefe, the third kick, and is stopped at the 42 by Larry Titley.
Well, we've heard many coaches say that if you're going to go anywhere in the playoffs and eventually win a Grey Cup, you better have two quarterbacks that can play. And I'll tell you right now, McJunkins hasn't played enough. And as you say, Watts is the key. This is a good move right here to get Norman Gibbs in the ball game. He needs to get some playing time. I know they were high on Gibbs when they let Nicky Hall go to Saskatchewan. They feel that Gibbs is the guy that has more potential. So maybe we'll get a chance to see some of it.
Well, they signed Norman Gibbs as a free agent. He started one game earlier this year. A victory against the Calgary Stampeders. A game that saw Nicky Hall finish off, but Norman Gibbs was the starting quarterback for that game.
Nicky will be looking forward to seeing you up in Regina.
Throwing deep for James Murphy, incomplete.
Well, you can see, a rookie quarterback threw that ball into the free safety. That safety man comes over. He's back there playing center field. As you said earlier, he comes over there. You'll see two black shirts and one white. Just about far enough.
Cornelius and Junior Robinson were over there, and it was Cornelius who beat Junior Robinson. Second and 10. Well, obviously there was a mix-up somewhere as Jeff Boyd was wide open deep. However, Norman Gibbs threw to the sidelines, and only a black shirt was anywhere around that pass attempt of Norman Gibbs, so the Bombers are forced into a punting situation again with 48 seconds remaining in this third quarter.
What normally happens is that defensive backs will settle when they're second and long. They look for the pass to go for the first down, and he did not back up a bit, and as a result, Boyd said, why do that? I'm going. And he went, and Gibbs didn't read it. That's all. That'll happen.
Listen to this crowd buzzing now. They're hoping that Ford gets this punt because he's really been exciting all afternoon.
Good kick by Bob Cameron. Newman fields it back at the 10. Newman bounced off Vernon Paul and then was caught by Peter Vandenbos.
Newman has had the good fortune of staying well in his play with the Ottawa Rough Riders. With the Argonauts, he had a groin injury that incapacitated him for most part of one season. And
our viewers in the BC region following this game.
Right with time, it is knocked away. Merriweather for the defense. Newsom was the intended receiver. Oh, look at this. New England has come back. It is 23-21. The Patriots out in front of San Diego.
That's a real surprise, Charlie.
That is. St. Louis, Tampa Bay. That's not a surprise. Tampa Bay, they have problems. And they're still looking for their first win.
Well, we're set to start the final quarter of this Winnipeg-Ottawa battle at the Ottawa. After getting just 3 points in the first quarter. But the Ottawa Rough Riders struck quickly in that second quarter, 24 points. And they now lead.
Another good job that time by J.C. Watts of avoiding tacklers and looking downfield and finding a receiver.
Well, statistically, you see that J.C. Watts has hit on only 12
second down repeated
of 20 attempts, but he is averaging, well, let's see now, almost 25 yards per pass.
24. Well, that's 60%. 60% is probably as good as anybody in the league is.
Looking around, somebody's blowing the coverage back there because Vernon Paul no way is going to run down the field with Dave Newman.
Dave Newman right now is wishing that ground would open up and swallow him.
He's in a severe case of shock right now. It was one of those plays where he was so wide open that the only thing that he had to do was worry about dropping it, and that's what he did.
That was a 104-yard touchdown if Newman corralled that pass.
It's unbelievable. He is really behind him. You couldn't take it out and hand it to him any better.
Even Mike Collymore was running downfield alongside him, reached up and grabbed his head. Dan Clark is punting from the end zone.
End over end.
Paul Bennett takes it at the 50. And he's out of bounds at the 36 of Ottawa. That's where the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will scrimmage with 13:23 remaining in the ball game when we return to Lansdowne Park.
Double slot left side.
Here they come.
And the pass is caught inside the 20-yard line and out of bounds. Bobby Jones with the reception. They're going to mark it out just about the 15-yard line. A gain of 17 yards on the play. Clock is stopped, 9:21.
Single coverage, man.
Ball and the personnel. First down, 15-yard line. Tight stack, 5 interceptions. Incomplete.
Part 2, followed by War, Part 3, and Man Alive.
Part 1.
First and 10. The Blue Bombers scrimmaging at the Ottawa 36. Overthrew James Murphy. He's been going deep with all the attempts he has launched so far, and he has not had any success. He got pressure from Jack Williams, who plays that outside linebacking position.
Somebody's gone deep, either the ball or the receiver, but not necessarily together. That time Murphy slanted, and the ball was thrown deep again.
John Lynch has been going in there all afternoon for Steve Harrison, the linebacker, to give them the 6 defensive backs. He's back in there this time.
Second and 10, complete to Joe Poplawski. And he gets to the 15-yard line, stopped there by Junior Robinson. The first completion for Norman Gibbs.
Well, it's hard to miss him this time. Poplawski's going to hook up right in front of him. Makes the catch, and then he keeps his balance. Shakes off Kenny Miller and makes a good gain. Gets him a first down at the 15.
Pickup of 21 for Joe Poplawski. Former Shenley winner as Rookie of the Year in the Canadian Football League. The Bombers feel they have another leading candidate for the same awards here in Willard Reeves. Gibbs goes down at the 20-yard line. Sovieta and Seal combined to bring down the Winnipeg quarterback.
He doesn't get much of a chance here. He goes back to pass, and about the time he looks downfield, the penetration is right on him.
They actually had the ball bounce away from him, but Mark Moores was there to scoop it up. They rule it an incomplete pass. It will be 2nd and 10 from the 15. 11:26, the time left in the ball game. Gibbs to Rick House. House is out of bounds at the 2. Junior Robinson, the safety, was blitzing on that play, but Gibbs got it away to Rick House for a gain of 17 and a first down.
Well, you saw Junior Robinson right there coming to make the hit. You saw him sneaking up before the ball was snapped. Gibbs made a good play just to get rid of it.
So it's 1st and goal, Winnipeg, from the 2-yard line. Straight ahead, but Dan Hucklack is stopped short of the goal line. He got to about the 1. Gibbs looking over to the bench for a little help. And with the signal that he flashed to Coach Cal Murphy, I would assume that he's going to drive it straight ahead.
With the signal that Cal Murphy flashed him, he just said, go get it. He just waved back.
It's one of those where the coach takes a big drink of water.
Gibbs will keep. He's got the touchdown. It's going to be a 2-point conversion try by the Blue Bombers, as you saw Cal Murphy call Trevor Kennard back, and he sends in Poplawski and House. And Norman Gibbs is going to keep the football. Well, he wants to keep it anyway, a souvenir of his first professional touchdown. He would have much preferred to score his first touchdown in a winning effort for the Blue Bombers, but he is gaining some experience this afternoon. The 2-point conversion try. Reeves has it, and it's now a 42-17 game in favor of the Ottawa Rough Riders with 10:42 remaining in the game. We'll be back with the Winnipeg kickoff after this.
Hey, Canada.
Welcome to Miller Time. Now through here, it's yours and mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. You've got the time, we've got the beer for what you have in mind. Welcome to Miller Time, yours and mine.
Miller High Life, now available at regular beer prices. Canada, welcome to Miller Time.
What do you call the technology?
Producing all the excitement of Grey Cup '83, beginning with live coverage of the Shenley Awards on Thursday, November 24th. And you'll see the Grey Cup parade, the thrill of it all, a 90-minute Grey Cup preview show, and the game itself. Produced on CBC television, November 27th, from the stadium at BC Place. Ricky Barton takes the kickoff at the 18-yard line. And struggles out. Walker. That time, Reggie Pearson was able to finish it off after the initial penetration had been made by Tyrone Jones. This afternoon, Skip Walker has run for 70 yards. He came into the ball game, of course, as the leading rusher in the Canadian Football League.
1,187 yards.
Paul Bennett. On this punt return, he gets a seam. And he is out to the 49-yard line. A kick of 42 yards by Ken Clark. Paul Bennett with that run back. 21 yards, giving Winnipeg a first down. They are at the 48. Walker, with the 70 yards he's picked up today, now has 1,207 for the season. Back to the live action, first and 10. Gibbs throws to Joe Poplawski. Close to a first down. He's at the 52 of the Ottawa Rough Riders.
The Winnipeg team has had very, very little success running from tackle to tackle, and a lot of that can be attributed to Seal and Doolin on the inside. They've just been playing great all afternoon in there, putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, too, and Greg Marshall coming from the outside also.
Just about that much short of the first down. The Blue Bombers, after this game, return home to face the Edmonton Eskimos. That game next Sunday at Winnipeg Stadium. And you'll see it on CBC television, and that will be the showdown battle for second place in the West. The two teams will go into the game with identical records, 8 wins and 6 losses. Winnipeg defeated Edmonton 20-18 the first time they met on July 15th. Play action. Gibbs throwing deep for James Murphy. It's incomplete. No, it's picked up. Junior Robinson has the ball, and he is out to the 20-yard line. So the Ottawa
plaudits that Edmonton team to Warren Moon. How about that Kelly? He had fun that night last night, too.
So with 7:13 remaining in the game, the Rough Riders are forced into a punting situation. Coach Brancato is reluctant to remove his #1 quarterback, J.C. Watts. I know you, Leo, would like to see Prince McDugnans into the ball game.
I'd like to see Watts out of there because he's done a lot of running around all afternoon, and he's got to be a little bit leg wary about this stage of the ball game. And with them ahead that far, and going on a leg or a rollout or something like that, somebody coming from the backside can get on those weary legs, and it could be a knee.
Don't even think that.
That would be awful.
Ken Clark gets it from his third down kick, chasing Paul Bennett back to his own 38-yard line. Penalty flag on the play. The effort of Paul Bennett, I'm sure, will go for naught. As it appears to be a clipping call against Cal Murphy's Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Holding will be the call against Winnipeg.
Winnipeg number 39, first down.
The holding call against Sean Kehoe.
Still a pretty good job by Paul Bennett. Started one way, went all the way back around the other side. It's a lot of running.
So Winnipeg is first and 10. The Bombers now back at their own 36-yard line. Then Hucklack takes that little pass to the sidelines for a Winnipeg first down, taken out of bounds by Al Washington with 6:20 remaining in the ball game, and there's an injured Winnipeg player. Dan Hucklack is down over on the far side of the field.
Boy, Cal Murphy must be holding his breath every time one of those guys go down because he's really thinning out.
Well, we talked about the number of changes that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have made, and how Cal Murphy very quietly this year has gone about making personnel changes with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He picked up Jeff Boyd on waivers from the Edmonton Eskimos. Then he got Sean Kehoe, Willard Reeves, Scott Stout, and Stephen Hall in a deal with the Edmonton Eskimos for the #1 draft choice. Actually, a draft choice they had acquired from Hamilton, plus sending Stout back to the Eskimos. Then they got David Shaw from Hamilton for Leo Ezerins, John Pointer from Toronto for 4 players no longer in the league, Tom Clements for Dieter Brock and future considerations that could prove to be Jim Muller and Steve Stapler, Del Belcher on waivers from Ottawa, John Hufnagel and J.C. Pelusi for Paul, Riley, and Johnson from Saskatchewan. And Pelusi was sent to the Ottawa Rough Riders yesterday just before the trade deadline. Jerome Erdman on waivers from Saskatchewan, Ken Walter and Peter Vandenbois for Milson Jones from Edmonton, and Mark Moores in a trade with Calgary for Willie Thomas.
They'll liable to need those running backs. Watch Huckluck get out of bounds here. And then he gets injured. He hurts an ankle, his right ankle, and he's limping on it pretty considerably coming across the field. But that is amazing, the number of changes that the Bombers have made this year. It's really surprising. And still being a pretty good battle for a playoff spot.
And then you can add one more, Donovan Rose, acquired from the Toronto Argonauts.
Ron, you've been there, you know, and I've been there also. And when you bring in that many people and have to teach that many people new offenses, new defenses, and have a football team that's looked as well coordinated as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, it's a great tribute to the whole coaching staff at Winnipeg.
Well, you know, there's an old saying, Leo, you coach twice as much and twice as hard when you're losing than you do when you're winning.
Sean Keogh has replaced Dan Hucklack.
I wouldn't know.
Penalty flag at the line of scrimmage as James Murphy makes the catch. He'll have a first down. He was at the 50-yard line of Ottawa.
I like that. That was good, Leo. You know what it is? You never get off of page 1 in the playbook with that many people coming in. You never make very much headway.
Boy, your short list gets shorter all the time, too.
Well, James Murphy just goes down, turns to the inside. You see him slide to the open spot, come back and meet the ball. They make the tackle.
Now they're measuring to determine if it is a first down. It's just a bit short. You know, yesterday, George Brancato said to Cal Murphy as the Blue Bombers came off the practice field, say, by the way, Cal, I've got a couple of quarterbacks. Would you mind taking them aside and working with them a bit?
Offside. Ottawa number 66. Decline. Second down.
Cal said to George, he said, I'd like to have some of your people if you don't mind. George says, I'm sorry, but it's past the trading day. And it was. Last night was at midnight was the end as far as the trades are concerned in the CFL.
Second and inches. Norman Gibbs Keats. He has the first down inside the 50-yard line. 5:50 is the time remaining in the ball game. 42-17 is the score. We talked about all the deals that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have made. They also have 5 rookies in the lineup. Tyrone Jones, Ken Haley, Kirby Wilson, Norman Gibbs, and this afternoon they added, playing his first game, Guy Beaulieu.
Well, I think Jerome Earl.
Penalty flag goes down. The pass complete to Sean Keogh. He's caught right at the line of scrimmage by Ricky Barton.
You know that Ottawa defense has done a heck of a job today. The only thing they've really been able to complete is that flat pass to either Hucklack or whoever it happens to be going out there.
You mentioned at the start of the game, Ron, that Hufnagel's forte was that inside passing game. Well, the Ottawa Rough Riders have taken that away from him.
Boy, they sure have.
Winnipeg number 71. Decline. Second down.
They have forced them to get away from that game plan that they like to use so much, especially Hufnagel. And all they've hit a couple bombs, one to Poplawski on the sideline, but most of them have been to the flats.
Second and 10, the procedure call against Joe Poplawski. Deep for James Murphy. He's down to the 13-yard line.
There's that middle that you guys said that they don't have any success throwing in.
Well, yeah. All right, what you're going to see right here, you're going to see double coverage on the inside receiver on the left side, and that opens the middle for the wide receiver, and Murphy went right to it, and Gibbs found him.
I don't want any excuses.
Great throw.
I'll tell you, I'm impressed with Gibbs. This young man from Southern University looks like he's doing a pretty good job out there, and it's great to get that opportunity to play without a lot of pressure on you. When you're this far behind, you don't have that pressure.
Well, certainly not to detract from Mickey Hall at all, but the Bombers, in making the trade with Saskatchewan, felt that Gibbs was the man who may have had some of the potential that they were looking for the future. Gibbs hurt.
And, you know, I don't think Greg Marshall did it either. I think Gibbs hurt himself as he went to throw. He slipped, and then Marshall coming in later, but I think the injury took place before he went down.
It looked as though he may have fallen right in the point of the football.
I I think he stretched the muscles in his stomach.
Stomach or groin?
Yep.
One or the other. It looked like he slipped a little bit. No, not to take anything away from Nicky Hall, but to get a quarterback like Hufnagel, you must give up something. And the Riders wanted Hall, and they got him. And he fits into the Riders' plans. Let's take a look at Gibbs. What do you think, Leo? Right there.
Right there, he stretched.
I think his left foot going off from under him, I think he stretched some groin muscles.
So John Hufnagel, who thought he was finished for the afternoon, will be coming back into the ball game for at least one play.
Nicky Hall, by the way, is down in Louisiana getting some knee surgery.
Nicky Hall played his first game last week against Montreal, at least his first game in a Saskatchewan uniform, and that's where he was injured. And this is where Norman Gibbs was injured. He may have caught the knee right in the rib area or in the kidney area. So Gibbs will be out for at least one play. It's now 2nd and 15. Make it 2nd and 17. Correct that.
There's a lot of room in that post area on this side.
That's where Hufnagel's looking. Rittenhouse at the goal area. Incomplete.
Charles Johnson, you're exactly right, Leo. There was a lot of room to the post, and as soon as the ball was snapped, Chuck Johnson jumped inside Erdman and did not allow him to get the free shot inside. That's good coverage and good thinking by a defensive back. You have to know where your help is, and he had none in the middle. Don't give it to him.
Well, there's no doubt it's 3rd down that they're going to go for it.
3rd and 17. Hufnagel for Jerome Erdman. He's going to be stopped short at the first down at the 6. He's 2 yards away from a first down. So the Ottawa Roughriders will take over with 3:30 remaining in the ball game. And it's still J.C. Watts.
Ottawa faked a safety blitz. Erdman went down, came to the inside. They made the tackle. He came up a couple yards short. You know, you got to go far enough for the first down on a situation like that. But Gary Doolin, whatever it is. What is it?
It would have to be the last one with that there.
30% chance of showers. The high this afternoon will be near 70. Good afternoon at 4 p.m. Cloudy skies with some showers through the metropolitan area. 61 degrees in Detroit. Relative humidity 60%. Barometer 30.12 inches and falling. Southeast wind 7 miles an hour. City Airport 63. Flint cloudy 62 and Lansing mist. Toledo partly sunny 72, Fort Wayne partly sunny 71. In Detroit 61. Here's the latest Detroit weather radar summary. At 3:30 p.m., light rain showers continued over southeast lower Michigan into southern Lake Huron and portions of southern Ontario. These showers were in a 30-mile wide band centered from near Coldwater, Michigan to Ypsilanti to Algonac to London, Ontario. There has been a decrease both in intensity and coverage since 2:30 p.m. Movement was northeast at 35 miles an hour. The following are latest.
3rd down kick by Ken Clark is fielded by Paul Bennett at the midfield stripe. Bennett struggles all the way to the 40 of the Ottawa Roughriders. That's where Winnipeg will be scrimmaging 1st and 10, and Norman Gibbs is going to return as the Winnipeg quarterback.
Steve Harrison and Pat Kantner getting a little shoving match. They were teammates last year.
A few members of that CIAU championship team, the University of East Thunderbirds, playing professional football this season. From the 40, 1st down. Poplawski is open and out of bounds at the 14-yard line.
Well, Gibbs was a veer quarterback, I believe, down at Southern University. I'm sorry. This time makes a nice throw. Splits the zone, hits Poplawski out of bounds. Didn't do much throwing in college. He has a pretty good throwing motion, Leo.
Pretty good throwing motion and a little confidence. confidence back there. A lot of poise for just a rookie.
First and 10, Winnipeg from the Ottawa 14-yard line. Drop play with Willard Reed to the 2-yard line. That will be another Winnipeg first down. 2:11 is the time remaining in the game. 42-17 the score in favor of the Ottawa Roughriders. You know, all 4 conferences within the Canadian Junior Football League will be fully into their playoffs next weekend as they vie for entry into the Canadian Junior Football Championship game. And this year's game will be played on Saturday, November the 12th in Windsor, Ontario at 1 o'clock. It's first and goal, Winnipeg from the 2-yard line. Gibbs in trouble. He got back to the 4-yard line. He had to do some bobbing and weaving to get away from that Ottawa pressure. Second and goal from the 4. 1:44 is the time left in the game. Over on the bench, Prince McClinton was probably saying, hurry up and score so I can get some playing time. Willard Reed does score.